Andy Murray blasted forehands as he had perhaps never blasted forehands. He played with fire and desire and his repatented blend of brilliance and self-criticism, swatting himself in the leg with his racket at one particularly overwrought stage and swearing and berating himself more often than once. But there has rarely been a tennis champion more adept at absorbing pace and thwarting ambition than Novak Djokovic, particularly on a hard court. By the bittersweet end, this once loud and luminous United States Open quarterfinal had become much more muted with Murray clearly in pain and Djokovic clearly in command, the outcome a foregone conclusion. The only other time they had met in Arthur Ashe Stadium, in the 2012 final, Murray won his first Grand Slam singles title after giving himself a hard look and a pep talk in the locker room mirror before the fifth and final set. But this time, no matter how deep it once appeared this match would stretch into the night, their baseline tussle did not go the distance. And the number one seeded Djokovic's gritty, convincing 7-6, 1, 6-7, 1, 6-2, 6-4 victory put him into his eighth consecutive US Open semifinal, where he will face Nishikori of Japan. Djokovic's midsummer, newlywed slump looks well and truly over. I was aiming to play my best tennis in the US Open, and I knew that's going to happen, said Djokovic, who married his longtime girlfriend, Jelena Ristic, in July. I mean, I was believing it's going to happen, and I'm really glad that I'm in another semi-final here. Tough draws, some tough players that I played against. Of course, as the tournament progresses, I'm trying to gather as much confidence as I can. Winning against Andy in a Grand Slam is definitely a confidence boost, and hopefully I can use it for the next match. Nishikori, the 10th seed, will be playing in his first Grand Slam semi-final after defeating Stan Wawrinka, the reigning Australian Open champion, in 5 sets, much earlier Wednesday evening. It was a remarkable, resilient performance from an uber-talented 24-year-old who might well have made it this far much earlier if not for a string of injuries, both major and minor. There have been more this season, including a cyst on his foot that restricted his play leading into the Open. I think he was a little bit unsure in the beginning, but he had 3 great matches to start, said Michael Chang, the former French Open champion who is now his coach. I told him before this tournament started, get through those first couple matches and anything can happen. The last 2 matches are good evidence of that. In the last 2 matches, Nishikori has beaten 2 members of the top 5 in 5 sets, outlasting the big-serving Canadian Milos Raonic in a match that started Monday night and ended Tuesday at 2:26 a.m. Nishikori's team said he did not get to bed until close to 6 a.m., but he was able to recover and find the strength to upset the third-seeded Wawrinka. Now comes what looks like the biggest challenge of all, the number 1 Djokovic, whom he has beaten in a best-of-3 set match in Basel in 2011 but never in a best-of-5 set match in a Grand Slam tournament. Continue reading the main story. The good news for Nishikori is that he will get 2 full days of rest. It was kind of nice for us to sit back and watch them fight it out for a little bit, Chang said of Murray and Djokovic. Though the match lasted 3 hours 32 minutes and did not finish until 1:16 a.m., this was no classic for the Big Four short list. It lacked the suspense, the length and the consistent quality, but it did have its highlights in the first 3 sets, plenty of extended rallies of 20 shots or more, plenty of phenomenal defense, acute angles and clutch serves and returns. We both gave our best, Djokovic said. At times the tennis was not that nice. We made a lot of unforced errors but that's due to the very physical battle we had in the first 2.5 sets. I didn't expect any less before the match. There were still surprises, above all the uncommon sting in Murray's forehand. The Scotsman's two-handed backhand has long been his masterstroke, but he was determined to take bigger risks than usual, flattening out his forehand on a regular basis and hitting 20 winners, the majority of them cross-court. He also regularly forced Djokovic, the most elastic of defenders, into errors in the stretch. But Murray could not sustain his brilliance past the midway point of the third set, and while the first set required 73 minutes and the second set precisely 1 hour, the final 2 sets slipped away from Murray in a comparative hurry. "Physically he was better than me in the end," Murray said. Murray's movement was clearly hampered in the fourth set, and his service speed also dropped considerably, with his first serve often failing to break the 100-mile-per-hour barrier. Though Murray called for a trainer while trailing 3-4 in the final set and applied a heat pack to his back on that changeover, he said he was not injured. "I got stiff in my hips and my back toward the end of the third set," Murray said. "I don't know exactly why. It was certainly coolish, but I was certainly not injured. I didn't hurt anything. I think it was just fatigue." Murray added, "I tried to hang in as best I could in the fourth set. But he appeared fresher than me. Whether he was or not, I don't know. Maybe he does a better job of hiding it than me. He undoubtedly does a better job of hiding his hopes and fears, even if Djokovic is hardly the poker-faced reincarnation of Bjorn Borg. But then playing someone who resembles you so closely in style and ability can be an unsettling experience. We both go through a lot of emotions, times when you play well, when you encourage yourself, when you're positive," Djokovic said. "Sometimes you're a little bit negative about how you're doing, about how you're feeling. But it's all a process of the battle on the court and what you go through. It's important to handle this emotion, and everybody is different obviously in the way they handle it." Murray, long a temperamental player, suppressed much of his raging against his imperfections when he was coached by Ivan Lendl in recent years. But he is back in close to full voice under his new coach Emilio Mauresmo, and after being broken early in the second set, he yelled, "Absolutely destroyed it. Idiot. Continue reading the main story, continue reading the main story, continue reading the main story." Other commentary was not suitable for printing in a family newspaper. Born 1 week apart, Djokovic and Murray have known each other since they were boys, first playing in a junior tournament in France at age 13. They once played doubles together in their early years on the tour and practiced together before this tournament despite their evident rivalry, which Djokovic now leads, 13-8. After his victory at Wimbledon in 2013, Murray appeared set to challenge Djokovic, Rafael Nadal and Roger Federer for supremacy in the men's game. Instead, he struggled with back pain and underwent what he termed minor back surgery late last year. But his ranking and his consistency have slipped in 2014, and he arrived at Flushing Meadows seeded 8th and had to fight through body cramps in his first-round victory over unseeded Robin Haase of the Netherlands. Yet he gathered strength and momentum, looking particularly sharp in defeating Jo-Wilfried Tsonga of France in the fourth round, Murray's first victory over a top 10 opponent this season. Djokovic represented a more formidable challenge, however.